Previously on Sister Wives.
Suki brings up the magical Rice Krispie token of Cody's affection to Mary.
Mary's like,
that present where he couldn't give less of a about receiving the made him want to fall in love with you again, Mary.
you can see the algebra in her head, the meme with all the math, and she's just, oh, this is just some f***ed up thing Cody's doing to try to screw over Christine.
So Mary does that algebra in her head, and she too begins to doubt that this was the present Cody meant.
Mary, did you know there was a time in the past Cody wanted to reconcile with you? It was during the time you gifted him those Rice Krispies on your 30th anniversary date. He was willing to forgive all your wrongdoings, Mary. Happy anniversary, Cody. Guess how many Rice Krispies are in there?
I have no f***ing clue. Are you making efforts to court me? I'm not coming, Mary.
Cody, what would you do if I kissed you?
Back off,
Well, I guess those feelings of reconciliation didn't last through the night.
I'm going to meet some dude online and fall in love and want to leave my family.
The first 20 years, I don't know, are not going to be really great. And if they are great, then somebody's lying.
I mean, having favorites is not okay. If you want a successful family, you don't have favorites.
I am not married to 3 other women.
Oh, I was a polygamist. It's all ego, baby.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm Angie. This is Tim.
Hi.
Here is Morty. Morty. Okay, he wants to join us.
Okay.
So, welcome back. It's been 2 weeks since the last most current episode, so
Not much happened.
not much happened. Okay, so any announcements you want to get into? Or should we just get right into it?
I don't know what announcements we would share.
I don't know. People usually talk about what happened in the Brown family during the holidays, all of which I'm not really interested in.
And I also don't know.
I guess
Also, you want to just also be aware, you don't want Morty to like rustle the microphone. Because that'll come up.
Oh, okay.
Just in case. He hasn't so far. I just was pointing it out.
All right. Okay. So thank you to all the subscribers and commenters and people who watch our videos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any announcements to make. Do you? This video is very aggravating to take notes on. If I'm watching an hour-long episode, it usually takes me 2 hours to write notes for it. I kept having to pause when taking notes because Cody was just so much more frustrating than usual this episode.
He kept lying, and you kept having to fact check every single thing he said because he just assumes nobody's gonna actually look up anything, and he's very wrong.
They need a new interviewer. My verdict on Suki is that there are times when she does ask the family members hard-hitting questions, but she doesn't go the full length. She does ask hard-hitting questions with Christine, but she is nowhere near that forceful with Cody and Robin, especially Cody, and we'll see later. We'll get into it.
It might be that TLC knows that Cody is the reason anybody watches the show is to hate him. And so they try to keep him as happy as possible.
I think I mentioned this before. I really wish they had a male interviewer do the tell-alls. Mainly because I think Cody is he doesn't respect Suki. So he feels that whenever he's given hardball questions, he looks at his watch or he rolls his eyes. He looks around the room and he tells her flat out, I'm not going to answer those. And I'm thinking, you're paid for this. Can't someone on production just threaten, okay, well, here's your check. You're not getting this until you cooperate.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, let's just get into this. We have a lot to go through. Sister Wives, Season 17, Episode 16. One-on-One, Part 2. We left off with Sukanya asking Mary if she knew there was a point in time Cody wanted to reconcile with her. Christine was the reason as to why it never came into fruition.
Allegedly.
Mary has no idea what our host is talking about. Cody realized the error of his ways and wanted to determine if both of them were a good fit. After showing all his wives the house plans for the one big Flagstaff house, Christine was rattled. Robin recounts Christine falling apart at her house and didn't know what that was about. Like we said before, this is a fake story that Cody and Robin fabricated to attack Christine's character. Suki asked Robin if it wasn't for Christine's actions, would Mary and Cody have fared better in their marriage? This is the first of many of Sukanya's leading questions.
Well, why would Robin even know?
Robin wouldn't know. Suki is just asking this question to butter her up because she knows Robin doesn't like Christine.
You hit the nail on the head with the leading questions where it's just, so Robin, tell me all the reasons why Christine's bad. But then when it goes to talking to Cody, it's, yeah, here's a softball question. And then Cody's just, I'm not going to answer that. It's not fair at all. It's asymmetrical.
Yeah, because the questions Suki asks prompts or encourages a certain or desired answer. And we'll get into this.
Maybe she feels like she has to do that with Robin because Robin's so dumb.
That is not untrue.
You know, it's like a lot of these reality TV shows. The person asking questions or the producers or whatever, they're specifically trying to get the answers to make the drama or whatever. And it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit, propped up, fake drama that's just dumb as hell.
Because my understanding is that if they cornered Cody and started asking him these questions, it doesn't matter anyways because he refuses to even answer the simple questions. If they confront him with these damning questions, then he would just flat out refuse. How are we going to fill the time for the next half hour? There'd be no content because he just walked off the stage.
Yeah, the only thing you can get anything interesting out of Cody is when you kind of trick him into it or he accidentally lets things slip. And he's not a very intelligent man, and he's not a very disciplined or patient man. He's gonna let stuff slip. He's kind of stupid.
Yeah, maybe we can cut Suki some slack.
Now, I think Suki knows exactly what she's doing. She's creating BS.
Yeah, never mind. Let's not cut her some slack. To Suki's question, if it wasn't for Christine's actions, would Mary and Cody have fared better in their marriage? Robin wholeheartedly agrees. She says, when Cody says or thinks that type of stuff, it usually happens. This is a contradiction because in the past episode, Robin says that Cody is not one to be run by one of his wives, that he was reinstating the patriarchy, that he's a leader from now on. When Cody is saying that it's Christine's fault that he can't have a good relationship with Mary, he's putting the fate of his relationship in Christine's hands. And that's not someone who is supposedly run by one of his wives.
Yes, for as strong and patriarchal and authoritarian as Cody claims to be, it all just kind of falls apart when completely powerless one decides to do something.
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps blaming others for his lack of accountability.
Because he's weak.
Suki exclaims, wow, that could have changed the whole trajectory of Mary's life.
That's bullshit. If Suki can't possibly believe that, or if she does, she's even dumber than she's led us to believe.
Yeah, so that's another leading statement. Very similar to a leading question.
Wow, Christine's an asshole, right? She's implying that...
Or trying to influence Robin of a certain way of thinking.
She's trying to goad Robin into being even more worse.
For someone who was a former news reporter and anchor, you would think that they try to be at least a little objective.
No, I don't think, I don't think there's anything objective about a news reporter or a news anchor. And two, she's not trying to be objective. She's trying to score some drama nuggets.
Here's the thing. I do believe that news reporters most of the time are partial, but they're usually partial to whatever audience is watching them. The audience that is watching them hates Cody and Robin.
Yes.
She is going against that.
She's not trying to make the audience happy, obviously, because we all hate her. She's trying to drum up the nonsense. She's trying to dredge up something that makes this show seem like it's not boring as hell.
Robin answers her question and she nods her head in agreement and says, yeah, that sucks, right? That Mary's and Cody's life could have changed.
Yes.
Not for Christine. Can you make him sit?
Morning. No, he doesn't want to sit. He just wants to stand.
Okay, whatever. Christine says the accusation is offensive and frustrating. She would have never stood in the way of Mary and Cody having a better marriage if that's what they both wanted. Sukanya tells her Robin believes Christine was guilty of Cody and Mary's dead marriage.
Way to put the blame on somebody who... How?
Christine is confused. She suspects that something was twisted or misinterpreted in the exchange. She thinks it ridiculous for Cody to have this smear campaign against her because she isn't that person.
But I mean, what possible circumstance could you be where Christine is the one who gets to control what Mary and Cody do?
She doesn't have the power, and we'll get into this with Janelle, where Christine is being used as a tool so it could convenience Cody's narrative.
Yeah, basically, Christine is being used to... sorry, Morty is just being a dog over here.
You're looking at the snow.
Yeah, he probably thinks there might be dogs out there to bark at. It's awkward here. Obviously, Cody is trying to leverage the Christine story into being able to use it to justify the Mary story. Because he's been stuck with the Mary story for forever. And then the Christine story happens, and he was super mad at Christine, but then he's like, oh, what if I can spin this? Christine didn't just ruin our family and our relationship, she also ruined Mary's relationship. He's trying to capitalize on this, and I don't know who would possibly be dumb enough to fall for it. But he thinks that this is going to save his reputation.
I'm pretty sure Mary doesn't believe any of Cody's BS for a second because she's relayed that same information from our host, that Christine would never do something like that to her and Cody. She succinctly replies, "That's nice to know. I don't know the entire conversation. I've also never heard this out of Cody's nor Christine's mouth. It's curious that she can't recall this discussion."
This kind of didn't happen.
Suki then brings up to her, "You know who does remember it? Robin. She memorized that entire conversation."
Last night when they were coming up with the whole idea.
Mary then says, "Interesting."
I think Mary is just like, that little bitch.
Then Mary goes, "It's a little heartbreaking because it's supposedly been 2 years since Cody wanted to patch things up with me. Yet here we are, and I see no signs of him wanting to fix things between us. He told me, absolutely not."
Oh my goodness, it's so frustrating. Liars are the worst things in the world, especially ones that are so confident in their lie. Oh, it's infuriating.
She continues to be perplexed by Cody's fabricated story. She says that during that span, she was trying to figure out who she was and how to be a better version of herself in the hopes that would be enough to win Cody back.
Oh my goodness, this woman's so desperate and sad.
He actually said those words to me, that that's not good enough.
I think that Mary has more insight into her relationship with Cody than Robin does. But then again, that's the thing. Robin claims to have more insight into every single situation in existence and perpetuity throughout the universe.
Yeah, that's a low bar to clear if you have more clarity than Robin.
Yeah, but no, that's the thing, is Robin's convinced that she knows more than everyone about everything.
Oh yeah, Miss Polygamy expert.
I was going to say Miss Dunning-Kruger effect. You know, the dumber you are, the smarter you feel, and she's the dumbest, so she feels the smartest.
Suki asked, in not so many words, "So, is this justification enough to walk away as Christine had?" Mary, being the ever indecisive person she is, goes, "Well, Cody has decided. We have a lot of history. I love him, and he has chosen not to love me, and went as far as proclaiming to the world that he doesn't consider us married anymore." So my thoughts on this whole, she doesn't want to divorce him and Cody doesn't want to divorce her, I have some thoughts about that. I think Mary would be fine with a divorce from Cody if he was the one that prompted it.
You know, if he was so patriarchal, I'm sure he would do it.
Because there's definitely a lot of passive aggressiveness between the both of them. their church, from my understanding, doesn't condone the man divorcing the woman. So how I think Mary is playing the game, she sees Cody abandoning her in every single way, yet he still thinks himself superior for not technically having broken these church rules. I think Mary feels his rationalization is unfair, so she is trying to teach him a lesson of how ridiculous that sentiment is by, one, looking like the sympathetic character, and two, forcing him to make a public announcement.
It's just a bunch of shit. This weird, gendered, asymmetrical, double standard thing going on in their religion that's bullshit. And Mary is trying to enact as much power as she possibly can, whereas Cody's part of this religion, I mean, they're all, except probably Christine at this point, are where they claim to sanctify womanness and femininity, but what they're actually doing is that they are
oppressing the woman.
Well, they have nothing but contempt for the woman. They veil that contempt in this false adoration. They're like, oh, look at these women. They're so great. We just love the way that they have all these children. It's so great. And the way that they just take care of the family. It's so great. Look at them. They're so great. But what they're actually saying is, those are the only way that women can be powerful. And if they're anything but that, then they're failures. And so it sounds like they're adoring them. You know, they're putting all this praise on them and how they're all great at everything. But in reality, they're pigeonholing them into a specific role. And if they fail to fulfill that role, then they are bad. That's the thing, is if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But the second an authority figure tells you that that's the only role that you can accomplish because of your genitals, that's where you got a problem, right? That's what's so gross about their weird cult.
That kind of backs up my statement where I think Mary might resent their church. And she resents their religion, and she's trying to, like you said, trying to exert all the power she can from her position. Because I fully believe after this interview, she's going to go to Cody and say, well, you did it. You just said there to the camera that you don't consider yourself married to me and that you therefore have divorced me, or something like that.
I mean, that would be really manipulative and Machiavellian. If that's the case, good on you, Mary, but all of these people have lost the benefit of the doubt for me. I'm not going to think that they're smarter than they've proven themselves to be.
They're just trying to out-petty the other. We cut to Janelle's portion of the interview, and Sukanya diverts the discussion to happier times within the family despite all the drama. Janelle says that she has no regrets. We then watch all the parents watch snippets of Robin and Cody's wedding, the Christmas trips, Valentine's Day love bombs, Christine's Las Vegas backyard renovations, and so on. Robin is making a half-smiling, half-grimacing expression as she stares at these flashbacks.
I thought that's the only face she makes.
That is the only face she makes. Grumpy cat.
She's got this smile that looks like a frown.
Janelle continues that facade they had going for 10 plus years was heaven. Yeah, there was a lot of self-growth, a lot of rubbing against each other's personalities. But when everyone was together, it felt like everything was okay. We were all united in the purpose of raising these kids.
I was going to say, the singular purpose into lying about our happiness. I feel like Janelle is the kind of person, she is just the happiest. She's as snug as a bug in a rug when everybody's faking that they like each other. She just loves it when people are just ignoring their problems, because that's what she does. She likes it when people just ignore their problems. And so the second that somebody stops ignoring their problems, she resents the person bringing up the problem more than the actual problem itself.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that as to why she and Mary butt heads so much during the early years. The part where she thinks the last 10 years was heaven, I think she's confused in her timeline, because she said that Robin isolated her kids from the rest of the parents, and so she's definitely talking about the pre-Las Vegas move, because there certainly was no raising kids in unity if one of the sister wives didn't even want you doing that to her kids.
I don't like Robin.
Join the club. Suki asks if Janelle is disheartened by the change that has occurred. She chalks it up to that being the natural evolution as the children become adults. Because how can you raise the kids? There's no kids to raise.
Yeah, but they haven't been united in raising their kids since, Robin congealed on their family.
And then Janelle goes, also, the differences of opinions have really polarized us to a point I could not have foreseen.
Probably political.
Mary's final statements on the flashback montage is, yeah, we had a really good life. Our host points out the fact that she used the past tense, to which Mary states, yeah, obviously it's different now. She expresses the same reaction as Janelle, saying that when the kids grow up and start to formulate who they want to be, it changes the dynamic of who they want to be within this family, which I took to mean half of the kids don't want to see the other half of their family due to being on opposite sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
So they'll never have those giant get-togethers like they've had in the past.
I wouldn't want to hang out with Peyton either. Probably try to tell me about how human rights are just infringing on the ability for corporations to make money, and that we need to enforce border security, and that white people actually came from Atlantis on a comet.
I really wished I liked all of Christine's kids.
I really wished I liked all people.
It's annoying.
By the way, coming from Atlantis on a comet was what they taught the people in Nazi Germany where Aryans came from.
So they believe in fairy tales.
Yeah.
Suki comments that she and Cody embarked on this vision for plural marriage when they were extremely young. We get Cody's input of what it was like as a 22-year-old young adult undertaking this task. There isn't a real roadmap of navigating this. Sure, one could get guidance from the church and other people in the community. At the end of the day, when you take all those influences into consideration, you're not living your life. You're living something else. Cody rewrites history that his and Mary's newlywed relationship was always terrible. He's basically saying it's his church's fault for forcing him to be a polygamist.
But I mean, then why is he still even involved in this church? Is it just for Robin's sake?
Probably. I don't know. He's going back to the point where he's starting to regret all of his marriages and then saying, it's because I was influenced by church elders or there was no guidance. And we'll get into it where he says that he only married Christine because it would give him clout in the polygamous community.
Cody's a jackass.
Cody rewrites history that his and Mary's newlywed relationship was always terrible, but Janelle was a blessing, since she diluted a lot of the strife he had to put up with from his first wife. The problem was that Mary and I were terrible for each other, and we were bringing more people into this mess. He says that Mary acted superior and mighty for thinking she had ownership over the house as soon as Janelle stepped inside.
I believe that. I don't believe the bit about Cody not getting along with Mary, but I do believe that Mary was abusive to Janelle.
You might as well be bringing another wife into your own bed. I didn't read all of the book. I just read snippets of the beginning because the book is not really well written. It's kind of boring.
I mean, I think it's okay written, but it wasn't written by them.
They're worse in person.
No, it's supposed to be written by Robin. Robin doesn't even know all the alphabet.
Okay.
It's obvious that they sat down and interviewed these people for 3 or 4 hours, then handed it to somebody who really had nothing better to do with their life, and then they wrote this thing. I mean, famous people don't write things unless they're famous for writing things.
Because from my understanding, I think when Cody and Mary first were married, Janelle, I want to say she was sort of like their landlady, or she had something to do with their living situation. And that's why they were always wary of being suspected that Janelle was a second wife or something like that. So I feel Mary should be grateful to Janelle for, again, I don't know because they move so many times. I have no idea what their living situation is like at any one point. But for Mary to be, no, this is my house, when, wasn't it Janelle who let you stay in this apartment or something?
Mary's an asshole. She treats people poorly. She doesn't really care about anyone else. She's unempathetic. She's Mary. What can you say?
Suki then asks, was Mary caustic in her unacceptance of Janelle? Cody, of course, agrees. She was jealous and was a monster to Janelle and me. Any tiny thing that was out of place. The wrong loaf of bread. The wrong nylons. The wrong dish detergent.
Like Cody was actually doing any of those things.
He wasn't. He don't care about the little things.
It's so obvious that Cody is just trying to remember all the things that Janelle was complaining about, and now is trying to sidle up in there and be like, I was a victim too. And it's, no, you just let it happen. You were an enabler.
Yeah, because, okay, and we'll get into this. In the past, whenever he talked about Mary and Janelle's struggling relationship, he always let it be between both of them. Now he's grouping himself into with Janelle.
He groups himself up with anyone that he thinks is going to make him look more sympathetic. Seriously, it doesn't matter who that person is. He'll be, oh, I was actually on their side the whole time, just to try to get some more sympathy.
Disingenuous piece of shit. He compares Mary to a never-ending advertisement for how she was raised. He mimics her, saying, in our family, we used so-and-so. This is how we did this.
I absolutely believe that.
Yeah, I can picture it.
I absolutely believe that Mary was raised in a hypercritical family where nothing that Mary did was right, and she's now doing that to her family. Generational abuse bullshit.
You need to cut that out. You need to break that cycle.
But then again, Cody wasn't the one suffering from this, probably.
He says that it was wrong for him to bring in another person when he was in an established relationship with someone he didn't get along with.
Also, we need to mention, I'm convinced that Mary and Cody are just the same person from two parallel universes, or possibly they're siblings or clones, because they have very similar hang-ups.
I thought you were going to say they have very similar hairstyles. Because remember when they both decided to be Keith Urban's doppelganger on that one date?
I thought you were going to say Keith Urban's pubic hair.
Oh, God. He then admits that when Christine was brought into the family, there seemed to be a semblance of unity. But that was only because that was around the time they started popping out kids. And that was their new focus. Not because of Christine's cheery disposition or her skills as a homemaker or as a peacemaker.
Her general positivity. No, it was the babies somehow.
He says his marriage to Mary was shitty, even from the onset of their honeymoon. So the fact that he's blaming Christine as to why his and Mary's marriage is in the dumps is laughable. If he's now claiming that it was always bad between me and Mary, even when we were barely 2 days into being married.
Yeah, this asshole just throws words at a wall to see what sticks. You know, he's just like, oh yeah, also Christine's got a heroin addiction. How's that? Does anyone believe that? Does that track? It's bullshit. It's contradictory. Christine can't be the one that caused his marriage to Mary to fail, and also Mary was horrible before he even married Janelle. This guy
is aggravating.
I can't tell whether or not he believes his own bullshit or not, or if he's really just senile.
Janelle is asked, what were things she and Mary had conflicts over? In plain terms, Janelle replies, everything. She gives specific instances. She was fickle about what detergent to use. Again, like
very specific.
This is what Cody
very
said.
Specific. This was like 25 years ago.
Or whether or not I should put oranges in the fridge.
Do you do that?
Everything.
I don't think you do.
I don't think you have to. You put vegetables in the fridge, not oranges. Because oranges are not in the cold section at the produce section.
Mm-mm.
Suki asked if this extreme nitpicky personality of Mary's was ever brought up to her. Janelle admits that that wasn't her behavior, to be upfront and honest.
No, she's reclusive and dishonest.
She states, to have someone be this direct and confrontational of these little details was almost offensive to me. And I relate to this.
That's also because you also come from a family where bringing up a problem is worse than the actual problem itself. bringing up that there's a conflict will cause that person to hate the other person more because they brought up the conflict and not even address the conflict together. Angie's got some shitty family problems.
Christine is asked to weigh in on Mary's unpleasantness.
It's just I'm picturing the avalanche. You see the rock that falls down and then and all the snow just coming down. Anyway, let's go.
She says that Mary's aggressiveness was so apparent that she would have ulcers and stomach pains from how confrontational she was. Mary had issues as to what time each of the wives could cook, what sort of meal they could cook, and whether or not they cleaned up well enough afterwards. Every moment with her was constant stress, since I never knew if she was mad at me for something, so I decided, that's it, I'm done with you.
See, that's the worst, is when you're dealing with a person who's just completely obnoxious and just a pain in the ass, angry all the time, is because you can't rely on them being mad at you for something you did. 9 times out of 10, they're just mad because they're mad at something else and they're taking out on you because they've got poor emotional impulse control.
Remember when Cody said during a Q&A where someone asked what are the favorite traits of each of your wives? And Cody couldn't think of anything for Mary, so he just said, she's clean. She's organized, but that comes at a cost because she's so anal about her cleanliness. I would think that would be one of his less desirable traits of her. So in actuality, he doesn't like anything about Mary, even back then.
On one hand, I never want to believe anything that Cody says, but on the other hand, Mary's terrible. So
we then get information from Cody of the time Janelle and her children decided to live away from the rest of the family. She moved in with her mother.
Smartest thing Janelle ever did.
Suki is shocked, since this is something we haven't heard of before, which is absolutely false, because I don't know if it was the book or
It's definitely in the book.
Couch confessional. Janelle has definitely revealed that she and Cody spent some time apart. She stayed behind in Wyoming while the rest of the family moved to Utah. She lived with her mother, and she was making good money from the job she had. So Suki
is a dumbass.
Okay.
What percentage of Sister Wives, quote-unquote, fans would you say don't know about this shit inside the book?
Maybe 40%.
The show doesn't give you nearly enough meat to chew on if you actually care about.
The show, there's so much other sources of information besides just the show
that are better. And
even if it's just the show, I'm pretty sure Janelle did say that at one point on camera.
Okay.
Suki just isn't doing her research. Cody lies to us that Janelle couldn't abide with being with Christine or Mary any longer.
I thought she was upset at Cody. But
Maybe
anyway,
she was.
It's not important.
She was probably upset at Mary and Cody. I don't know why.
Did you put Christine in there? I know why, because he's trying to build up this effing narrative.
He tells us that Janelle felt ostracized by the Mary and Christine club.
They hate each other. And also, Janelle and Christine were always the two closest. How does he think we're going to believe this?
Sukanya gives yet another question. So she was able to ignore her feelings and put them aside for the sake of putting the family first?
Is she asking these very specific leading questions because she doesn't think Cody's smart enough to give her the words that she wants to hear?
He's probably going to sit in silence for the rest of the interview.
And just go, and
then she's going to be blamed for not getting it out of him. Cody agrees. He conveys a period of time where the rift in the family was so apparent that all 3 of his wives were living in separate houses. They were going to move states, and Janelle wouldn't come along. It wasn't until the Lehigh house came about that she changed her tune. We get Janelle on the couch again, saying that she, Christine, and Mary all had separate living situations at one point. Suki asks her, "But why does Cody see it as you needed your space, and that the conflicts between your sister wives was too much for you?" She replies that Cody will spin a yarn to make it make sense from his point of view. He will stick to this narrative that things were always full of conflict, ignoring the good times. The truth is that I wanted to stay behind in Wyoming because I had a good life. is what she affirms. Which I recall her saying in the past that, again, she had a stable job, she was making good money, and that was the reason that she didn't immediately move to Utah. And not necessarily because she hated Christine. She probably hated Mary, but she didn't hate Christine and Mary.
Everybody hates Mary.
New show title.
Everybody hates Mary.
We then get Cody's rewriting of Christine coming into the family. Suki calls him out on a past attitude of his that she mended things in the family. He goes, "Nope. She was that panting dog that said, 'Pick me, pick me.' I was compelled by outside influences to marry her. She was basically polygamy royalty. I believe it was Christine's grandfather was the prophet of the AUB at the time.
She's the little cult queen.
So of course, having a blue-blooded polygamist as a wife would make me look cool as a fresh convert to this cult." He didn't say to this cult.
I was going to say, if he did, that would be the most honest thing he's ever said.
He just said that this would make him look cool.
Really? He said that? Look
Yes,
cool?
he said look cool.
He's such an immature little fuckwad.
He said that marrying Christine, who has deep roots in polygamy, would make him look cool, but in retrospect would be unfair to him. Not Christine. To him.
Yes. He's the one who's got control over his destiny, but everybody else is the one that hurts him.
Suki then asks a funny question. "So how is your ego?" And Cody gives us the line, "Oh, I was a polygamist. It's all ego, baby."
No, I take it back. This is the most honest line that Cody's ever given.
Then he stares at her for a good 5 seconds.
Oh, God, he's trying to assert himself.
Such a stark difference from the time they could give an example of an ordinary member of their faith. He was not a dictator. He was just well-trained. And so you see him get schooled by his wives. And now he's saying, it's all ego.
I mean, we all knew that.
We changed topics to the subject of Christine selling and leaving her Flagstaff house. Suki diverts her attention to watch the screaming porch scene, to which Christine gives a half-hearted, "Oh, yay!"
Yay, this scene.
We get shots of Robin watching the scene, particularly the part where Christine explicitly didn't say she didn't want a relationship with her. But Robin does this. She's like, shit, they know I'm going to be lying.
About what?
Of Christine.
Oh, Christine doesn't say the thing she's been saying over and over again?
Yes.
Oh, God. Seriously, we need to set these people down with some people who actually know shit and just be, "Robin, could you tell us about the time you lied at this? Some good leading questions. Cody, on a scale of 1 to 10 from 1 being a super asshole and 10 being an omega asshole, how much of an asshole are you, Cody?"
If you're going to make Cody not answer the questions, at least make it questions that are entertaining for him to not answer.
Yes. I mean, he's not going to answer anyway, so give him some really good ones, like, can you talk to us about your authoritarian political views and your completely unmasked misogynism? Is that even a word, misogynism? Anyway.
Probably. Cody nods wholeheartedly at the point in the scene where he expresses that Christine treated Robin like dirt. At the point Cody says his line of, "You only wanted to work on things with the kids because the kids were the easy part," Christine's brows furrow intensely like, "No, raising your children was definitely not the easy part of plural marriage."
The easy part was driving your Lexus around town.
When we reach the point in the clip where Cody storms off the porch and Janelle goes up to Christine to embrace her, Cody on the couch gets visibly enraged and goes, "I don't get that. You don't get why the ex-wife who you subjugated to your screaming needs some solace at that moment."
Well, Cody is at this point where he doesn't care about actions. He only cares about loyalty. He's loyal to specific people, regardless of what those people do or say. And so he expects loyalty regardless of how much of an asshole he is.
He expects loyalty, but he also doesn't expect good friendships between his wives, or at least for some of his wives. This man is walking contradiction.
I don't know. Yeah, he's a walking contradiction. If it were up to me, we'd get a sledgehammer and we'd make him a wheelchair contradiction.
The scene finally ends and Christine is asked how she was able to remain so dead calm the entire discussion. Christine gives Suki an inquisitive stare. Her entire reaction was of confusion, since after watching that clip, she didn't realize how far removed she was to her ostracization of both Mary and Robin. If she had to guess, her shunning was probably more in line with not opening up as much as Robin wanted her to. Because remember from last episode, Christine said, "I thought I did let her in." Cody gives his 2 cents that we don't need. Christine was a bully who shit-talked Mary and Janelle for years. Suki plants the idea in Cody's head that Christine felt threatened by Janelle, to which Cody says,
What?
"Apparently not anymore."
I don't understand what Suki's getting on. What's she implying here?
I think she was saying,
Why would Christine be threatened by Janelle?
because I think Janelle was more, I guess, cerebral in her relationship with Cody, or she brought something to the table.
She was like being physically threatened by Mary, so why would she have enough energy to be threatened by Janelle?
Physically threatened as in she got stomach pains.
I mean, just constantly being confronted over and over and over again. We've repeatedly seen that Janelle and Christine get along the best out of any of them. And yet they keep coming up with this fake story about them actually fighting or something out of nowhere for no reason. Why'd Suki even suggest this?
I don't know why Suki keeps...
She's just trying to dredge up anything because these people don't really have anything interesting to talk about.
Cody goes on. He says there was a point in his marriage where he started getting distrustful of people. He means his wives. As to what was okay for him to say or not say.
No, I think that's probably true with all people. He's kind of a misanthrope.
Okay. Suki then asked him, "So who do you trust?" Cody, like always, is vague because he thinks that absolves him from accountability. "I'm not going to say it." Yeah?
No, I just keep going.
Okay. "I'm not going to say it because that will just start pissing me off." He growls.
Did he actually growl?
Yes, he goes, "Arr." Then he
God,
takes a sip from his coffee.
Uh-huh.
He runs away from the conversation by saying, "We can discuss that another time."
No, he can't.
To which Suki goes, "Okay, Cody, I won't press you any further. I hate this tell-all." Even if he won't answer it, just humiliate him. Make him sit with these uncomfortable questions.
Maybe it's in their contract. Cody gets to okay the questions beforehand type of thing. From maybe that goes back to like season 1 or something. But as long as people are watching this stupid show, they have no incentive to try to make it better.
We get Janelle's perspective of the screaming porch clip. "His statements are ridiculous. It is unhealthy to suggest that you sacrificed at great lengths to love someone. Also, his framing that Christine was a bad sister wife? How could he call himself mine or Christine's spouse if he only ever saw things from the view as Robin's husband? If he truly was a polygamist, he would be able to take in multiple sides, for no one person is ever 100% blameless." And I'm glad she's calling that out.
I hope somebody is.
Suki then misquotes Cody's lines of thinking concerning Robin. He keeps bringing up the notion that Robin had her hat in her hand.
Uh-huh.
Janelle laughs and interjects. "Yeah, he keeps painting her as some type of flawless angel. I'm sorry, Cody, but she's human." And I would like to go one step further and say she's not an angel.
I was going to say she's subhuman, like a troglodyte.
Oh, I was about to say she was a troglodyte. What's a troglodyte?
Isn't it like those prehistoric... It's either that or a cave person. I'll have to look it up.
Here, I'll look it up.
Caveman, yep. No, Cody's the caveman.
Okay, so Cody's the troglodyte.
Robin is a...
Well, I was going to assert that she's the devil, but the troglodyte was funnier.
I mean, I was saying, yes, Janelle says that she's human. I'm saying that she's less than human. But you're focusing on that she's not an angel. She's a devil. Mm-hmm. I can put one step further. She's not a devil. She's the Christian devil. Okay, let's go.
Our host presses further if Janelle had personally witnessed the moments of strife so prevalent between Robin and Christine, to which Cody and Mary keep hammering away on. Janelle says very plainly, "This is the world, according to what I, Janelle, have seen. Cody is myopic, aka he's blind as a bat when it comes to processing what his other wives have brought up to him versus what Robin says."
And we know that's true.
She provides further details of exchanges between her and Cody where she would vent to him, but he refused to side with her, yet he rarely, if ever, sides against Robin. We then, for a change, get some affirming words from Mary regarding Christine's situation. She claims that Christine did visibly struggle with Robin and was pining for Cody to love her. But as evident from this past season, that love was met with the sacrifices he made for her. Mary discloses that no wife ever wants to hear their husband say he made sacrifices to love them.
Well, it's better than Cody. He makes sacrifices to not love Mary.
Damn, these people fucked up. We get Robin trying to decipher what Cody was trying to convey in the clip. She tells us that Cody told her that Christine was actually never kind to Janelle nor Mary.
And nobody believes this for a second.
Suki pushes Robin for specifics as to what Christine did that made her feel like she was hated.
Thank you, Suki. This is the best thing you've done.
She tells us that Christine made snarky comments, excluded her from things, and let her know how things were going to go, pulling rank.
What?
So, the only time I noticed a moment when Christine was giving a snarky comment to Robin, it was during an episode, I think it was either season 2 or season 1, where Robin was talking to the camera around Christmas, and she was kind of complaining over the fact that she couldn't cook with the other wives and started to have this sob story that everyone is in that big house having a good time together, cooking together, being together. And then as she was saying that, Christine pops up from the background and says, "No, Robin, sometimes we're all separate too." And then she goes about her business. And then Robin is left staring at the camera, kind of embarrassing. "Oh, well, I thought they were having a good time." Is that what Robin means when she says Christine was snarky?
No, she's just lying out her ass.
That's the closest I can think of her giving a snarky comment, because that's not being snarky. That's just telling it how it is. If that was the extent to Christine's mean-spiritedness, where Robin would say something false or she would idealize something that wasn't true, and then Christine has to say, "No,
her.
that's not how it was," then that's not being mean or pulling rank. That's just telling the truth.
And it's going against her friggin' fairy dust nonsense.
I skipped more of Cody's take because I'm so done with his talking points. Christine's point of view that Cody outright shit-talked and bullied Mary and Janelle isn't accurate. She isn't as mean-spirited as he is painting her. She professes that that was just her way of discharging the daily events to Cody, which would have sometimes involved things her sister wives have done. That's nothing new, and besides, he is accusing me of shit-talking Mary and Janelle when he has done the exact same thing. I thought that when we were chit-chatting about goings-on within the family, the feeling was mutual. I thought my husband could be my sounding board at times, so it's perplexing that he would characterize me as a mean bully. I have put up boundaries when I felt unsafe with family members, but that is in no way mean-spirited of me. Suki asked Christine when did she notice a shift in how Cody viewed her mere small talk to nasty, rumor mill gossiping. Her response is that she had no idea that this was his current stance of how she interacted with him about her sister wives. Suki keeps pushing for more details, which I really wish she was this aggressive with Cody as she is with Christine. She keeps pushing for more details as to why Christine never brought up that discrepancy to him. Christine answers that bringing up that inconsistency is painful, because I assume that Cody would just deny everything. And that's why it's so distressing for Christine.
If it's distressing for us to listen to Cody denying all this stuff, I can't imagine how distressing it would be for Christine to hear him denying all this stuff.
Suki, as always, asked Cody a leading question. Was it as simple as everything is Christine's fault and you have no blame in this?
Yes.
That was the question.
Yes.
To which Cody goes, absolutely, absolutely. You know, it would have been okay if Christine just came to me and said, I don't think I'm a fit here. But what she actually did was broke my baby's heart. I don't respect this man. And I'm assuming she meant Isabel. Coward. I don't respect him. Picks favorites. I don't respect him. Just name it.
They're all true, though.
She's been shit-talking me. It's okay to break up when you're not in love. Like how I'm going with Mary. But to assuage her guilt, she has blamed me for everything.
Everyone blames you for everything, Cody, because
He is the problem. Okay.
he's the fucking worst.
Okay. He continues on, and she has gossiped about what a horrible husband and dad I am to all of her and Janelle's children.
And you've displayed that to all of the America that's desperate enough to watch your show.
So all of Christine's and Janelle's children can see Cody for who he really is, except for McKelty. So anything she tells them aren't things they don't already know, if she is talking to them, which she said in a previous episode that she doesn't do that. The kids already knew what was going on.
Yeah, the
between her
kids
and
are
Cody.
probably bored of it by now.
So then Cody goes on, I get it. She needs to do this so she can find another man who will trust her, because if she leaves a good man, no one will want her.
Oh my god. This guy. Oh my god. He's the worst.
No man on this planet thinks Cody is...
He's a good man.
Yes!
Cody has surrounded himself with yes men, with people who just praise him. And so he's completely blind to the fact that 99.9% of the people on the planet think he is the scummiest scum that ever scummed.
Another thing I'd like to point out is, aside from him thinking that he is a good man, even though that's not the case, is in that sentiment where he says that Christine has to do this so she can get with another guy. He has expressed that same sentiment, I think it was in a previous episode, where it was during the time when they were pretending that polygamy was great. And he said, if one of my wives ever divorced me, that would be okay. And that way she can
find happiness in another marriage.
And it's everything any of his wives do is because of a man.
He doesn't think women are people. Women are objects to him. Men are the things that actually do things.
Exactly.
He's the fucking worst.
Is my chewing apparent?
It might be.
Oh, great. Sorry, I'm hungry. We then reflect on the episode where Christine leaves for Salt Lake City for the first time. Janelle ruminates the position the family took when McKelty forced that awkward goodbye. The divisions were very apparent. They watch the awkward goodbye scene, and Robin's face looks like this.
It's like the only face she makes.
Janelle says that in retrospect, she was glad McKelty hosted this send-off so that there would be some closure to this old chapter of this family. She admits that she isn't a huggy person, but felt that Christine really needed it in that moment. Robin denies that the distance in the final send-off wasn't because of divides in the family, but because of COVID. I would have totally hugged her, even though Cody got to hug Truly and there is no discernible difference between him and I at that point. Just rubbish. Robin is lying.
God, they're the worst. They really think that they're ahead of the game. They're the worst.
Robin talks some more, but I'm going to skip over that as
Good.
well. It was a bunch of bullshit how Christine hates her and her children, but she was a saint for at least showing up. I can't. I'm not recapping her lies. Suki asks Janelle, how does Cody feel now that you and Christine are closer than ever before? Something he's always wanted, closeness between his wives, yet he is so angry about their friendship. Janelle says that she and Christine were always close, even before the divorce, so Cody is just that inattentive, or he's just conveniently seeing it one way. Janelle is asked, what is Christine looking for in her future mate?
This is the best part of the episode, by the way.
Janelle says, someone who just cherishes the shit out of her. Suki then asks what Christine's physical type is, and Janelle gives us the deets.
One word, wow.
And that came as a surprise. Apparently, Christine has a statue of her ideal man in her house. Again, wow.
Yes.
The image is of this guy from a video game, which they turned into a movie. I was fully expecting Christine to reveal that the statue is someone from Highlander, I don't know if that's a video game, or
like Kratos from God of War or something.
Or some tall vampire character, some video I don't know.
But no, we find out that Christine, she's for the Horde.
It's Duratan the Orc from World of Warcraft. So I was curious, does
Cody was right. She is a gamer.
That's correct. Christine is a gamer because I'm curious. Does maybe one of her sons play it? Does
I don't know. I find
I'm
it very...
stereotyping that only males play this game.
Oh no, there's lots of women play World
Okay.
of Warcraft.
Okay.
In fact, I would say of the half a dozen people I know that play World of Warcraft, 4 of them are women.
Christine loves Duratan
She likes him tall, green, and handsome.
because he absolutely cherishes his wife, and when he looks at her, it is with expressions that is just full of love because he would do anything for her. Then Suki gets so annoyed. I meant celebrity crushes, Christine.
Who fucking cares about celebrity crushes, bitch?
Video game characters don't count.
Yeah, don't you know our demographic? Our demographic doesn't know what video games are.
Oh, God. She didn't actually say video games don't count, but she was just trying to veer the
Imply
direction
it, yeah.
into real human crushes.
It's like, God, who cares,
Because
Suki?
Duratan is definitely a type.
No, it's a type.
Then Christine names a real life man, and that is Shamar Moore.
Who's this person?
I think he was from The Young and the Restless. That's all I got. Other stuff.
Okay.
SWAT. Anyways. So, Christine definitely has a type.
Yeah.
So, she's looking for someone who just loves his woman.
A passionate man.
We leave this levity of a conversation and go back to Robin being asked if she and Christine could ever be friends. She says that it's up to Christine because she can only build relationships on real trust. I just want something real. I want real relationships. I've always had. Before I fell in love with Cody, I fell in love with this big family culture of one big happy family. I am mourning this because she took it away. I feel absolutely cheated.
See, this is what happens when people fall in love with an idea and not in love with people. Robin had an idea of what the Browns were, and she fell in love with that idea. Then she found out who the Browns were, and it wasn't, and then she held it against them as if it's their fault that they weren't what she wanted them to be.
She's terrible. She's insufferable. And she's so draining. Then Suki has to ask a stupid question. Do you feel you were the Brown family scapegoat? Of course, Robin agrees.
Well, maybe she's the Brown family scapegoat, but not the Cody and Robin alliance scapegoat, which is Christine.
Because then Robin goes on and says, I jokingly refer to myself as Cody's whipping boy. There's anyone getting whipped, it's a frick you bitch.
No, I'm just, oh God, maybe this is the weird dynamic. I'm Cody's whipping boy is what Robin says to herself?
Okay, so a whipping boy, according to Google, is a boy educated along with and taking punishment in place of a young prince or nobleman.
No, what's the weird thing is that she refers to herself as a whipping boy. I don't know. It seems like there's a sex thing involved.
She basically tells Suki the same stuff she told her mother when Alice told her she's the scapegoat of the family. That she takes it because she doesn't fight back. Except when you do so in the shadows, when you vent to Cody, and then Cody has to amorously defend you. Suki ends with a seemingly simple question to Cody. Robin respects you. She respects your marriage and the covenant that you two have made to each other.
God.
Describe your relationship with her. Cody then rolls his eyes, looks around the room, then checks his watch. Pauses for a long minute. Does this look of disgust?
How dare a person with a vagina ask me a question like that?
He refuses to answer. Suki then asks if he could at least react to the next clip they're about to show him. He smirks evilly and says, sure. And that is where One-on-One Part 2 ends. I can't with these two. Mary was okay in this episode. She didn't aggravate me as much as other episodes. But Robin and Cody are just digging that well of how much I can dislike them.
I don't know what their goal is. Do they think that they have fans? Do they think that people like them?
Well, he's definitely getting cameos, so at least if he has any exposure to...
Again, I've said this before. If you are doing cameos with Cody Brown, you are a traitor to the human race, and that you should be deeply ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Don't support him. Did you already give a too long to read summary?
I mean, that was kind of one of it.
Okay.
Suki, again, she's either really bad at asking good questions or she's really, really good at asking bad questions.
I don't have the patience for these people for much longer. So I know there's going to be a final part to this one-on-one, and this is...
The only way that this third one can be worth anything is if we find out that each of the wives and Cody's World of Warcraft crushes are. Then, then we're going to be okay. Don't support these people. Don't support Cody. There are more entertaining and more interesting assholes that you could financially support. Don't support Cody.
Okay. All right. That's it.
Bye.
Bye.